Welcome into today's broadcast right here at Cog Hill Farm. Now, Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the house for this episode, so here's Jason, Brooke, and our chicken master, Marycarl.
What is up, everybody? This is another episode of the Cogcast podcast, the Homesteading and Farming podcast, out there on YouTube, all your podcast apps, and on Facebook. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. This is episode number
57.
57.
Wouldn't it have been funny if I had gotten it wrong after I was so confident I knew which one it was?
Like protege.
Oh, goodness.
Did I say it right that time?
I don't know.
I don't think I did.
No, it's got a T in it.
I thought the T's silent.
No, they
It's
said
not?
say it like pot.
Protege.
Yeah, potager.
I know we're still saying it wrong.
That's okay. It is episode 57, though.
It is episode 57.
There is no denying that.
You got that right. It is episode number 57, and
It's the AM.
It is early morning. We're trying to get these recorded before we get started and
There's
run out
rain.
of time.
Rain on the windows.
Imagine that.
But,
It's supposed to be clear today at some point.
well, yeah, and I mean, it's some little bit of showers, but nothing like what it has been. Ida has left the building.
Yes. I feel for everybody that was impacted so severely by Ida. Our friends Wes and the Blairs over at the Naked Hog. I'd been talking to him, and they had they had a tree fall on a building where their goats were, and they don't have power, but luckily he does have a generator, and hopefully they get everything situated over there. I had talked to our friends over there at Reap What You Sow, who makes all the lovely pottery and made the Cog Hill Cup for me. They're in Louisiana, but they said that it shifted and they didn't have any major damage. But that was the last time I talked to them. They didn't have any major damage. So,
You know, I kind of feel like when you and I thought that the worst of it might be going through, everybody we talked to was okay, and then it seemed like it was a little bit later when the actual worst of it hit them.
it was moving so slow. Deep South Homestead, the last time I checked on them guys, they were okay. So
I know there were
hopefully-
some lives lost. I did see that.
Did you?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how many, but I do know that there were, some lives lost. And I'm sure as the days come to light and the storm gets over and they're able to go through some of the rubble, it will be devastating.
It's awful.
Hopefully not too many loss
Right.
of lives, but devastating as far as, flooding and
Right.
buildings and things like those things can be replaced. Lives can't.
Right.
So just we're thinking about y'all and
Yes.
hopefully things will start to come back to normal sooner than later. Normal as it can anyway.
That was a rough one.
It was.
It was so big too, and it just moved so slow.
Yeah. And we've got some more out there in the Gulf and just, we don't know. We can't control it. So
Right.
just have to take it day by day. And
That's right.
meanwhile, here on the original Cog Hill Farm,
Yes.
we were able, during a rainy day yesterday, get a lot accomplished.
Yeah, we got a ton of stuff packed.
We didn't get too much done outside. All the animals were taken care of. We made sure everybody was fed and watered and had shelter, but we were able to do some things inside that we had probably been putting off for too long. So
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff accomplished yesterday here at the original Cog Hill. It was a super productive day.
it
Well,
was.
I tell you, we've been hustling. Not that we hadn't been hustling before. We have been. There's a lot of variables going on now, trying to get the tiny house moved.
Yeah, you really don't know what should come first. I mean, do you concentrate all of your energy on moving boxes? Do you put fences up?
Yeah.
That's kind of our...
Working on the chicken coop, getting fences built, getting the tiny house situated and moved. Once we get it moved, we got to get it wired.
We
got
got
to
a
get
lot
the
of
plumbing
irons
done.
in the fire.
We got the site prep guys there. We got the septic system certified by the county.
Yep.
So we got that going on. It is a lot of stuff going on.
I
in
feel
all
like my
different
list is like
directions.
this, and I need to put 1s, 2s, and 3s beside it, but I really don't know which one comes first. Well, we didn't know if we woke up this morning if it was still going to be storming because
Right.
the weather called for like 90% chance of rain. Well, we did have some pretty hard rain a little bit earlier, but it looks like it's pretty clear for a few hours. And
Yeah.
I told you this morning that I thought we needed to get our greenhouse out of the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be a pretty big undertaking because we have to take our fence down,
Yeah.
get the greenhouse out, and then put the fence back up. And the fence has to go back up because our little dogs will get loose. And
Right.
we've got to have them locked up in the house while we, take that fence down and then get the greenhouse out, put it back up. So that's what I would like to get done today, just to have it out of the backyard. Whether we get it over there or not, it's another story because we don't even have the trailer here.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
left the trailer over.
I
at the
agree.
other
We'll
farm.
get that hopefully out of the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we take it over there, finish the chicken coop. That's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
And then check that off the list.
Right. Yeah, we kind of need to finish some things that we
Yeah,
started
right.
versus starting new things before we finished old things. But it's hard to do when you got so many things going at one time.
Well, when it's raining,
You're kind of limited.
yeah, we could only do so much.
We
and that's
could
why
only
we
do so
just
much.
focused everything here.
And my car is totally loaded with stuff that needs to go to the Goodwill.
Yeah.
Well, it's too early to go to the Goodwill right now. They're not even open yet. And I do need to get some more boxes. I've been going to the ABC store, which is a alcohol beverage control, and
Yeah.
picking up boxes, and they're not open yet. So a lot of people have questioned, why are you doing the podcast if you got so much to do? Well, we want to update our fans. We feel like y'all are as big a part of this move as we are moving.
Well, not only that, too,
This is our job.
This is our job. Making content, making podcasts, making videos. This is what we do for a living.
That's right.
So we have to treat it as such, or we don't make money for the family, and
That's right.
so we still have to go to work. No different than going to a regular job.
Yes,
If we had a regular 8 to 5 job,
We
I
couldn't
still
stop.
have to go to work.
You
even
couldn't
though I had
stop
so
because
much
you're
stuff.
moving.
Yeah. So we still have to go to work. So
this
is
hour
our
is it's just got to, it's got to come out of our day.
Right.
Because this is part of our job. So y'all don't, think that we should be moving and we're doing a podcast because like Jason said, we got to continue to work.
It'd be no different than we were had our own radio show, and it came on at 8 o'clock every morning on the radio. It's the same thing. We still got to go to work.
That's right. Wish we, could,
Got to pay the
could
bills.
stop
Yeah.
and just take a week off, but it doesn't work like that. You still got to continue on.
Still gotta work.
I still got to work. And there were several comments that I looked out of sorts in the last podcast. I probably did look out of sorts because,
even
in all
remember.
honesty, I'm kind of out of sorts. And it's just because we have so much going on. I'm not overwhelmed. My brain, I think, is functioning quite fine. And I do have a lot on my mind. But other than that, I don't feel like I'm out of sorts.
I
mean,
don't either.
I just said I am out of sorts,
Yeah.
but that just means that we've got a lot going on. So
Right.
anybody would look kind of different, maybe.
I guess so.
I don't know,
I don't know.
but I'm fine.
I still think you look beautiful, though.
Well, you're so sweet.
Speaking of boxes, I do want to say that our friends over there at Greenstock offered to send us lots of cardboard boxes if we needed any, and I wanted to tell them thank you so much
Yes,
for that.
that is so
it is.
nice of them, but there's no need for them to pay the shipping to have boxes sent to us when we are able, luckily,
Right.
to get what we need locally.
That's right.
But we do appreciate the offer.
I knew
It was so nice
that
of
was
y'all.
really, really nice of y'all.
Greenstock is awesome, by the way. We haven't talked about Greenstock in a while.
I got my seeds. I was going to mention what was going on. We are not going to be able to plant a fall garden
No.
like we normally do. And we'd probably be lucky if we can get a good spring garden in coming
Yeah.
up because we have so much going on. But I do want to mention that I do plan on planting something, and I think I said it before, but I didn't go in great detail. But we're going to take our 4 green stalks to the 40.
Well, we got basil in that one in the backyard,
Yeah.
but I would like to go ahead and get it moved We'll just have to see about that.
But I do have my fall plantings. I said I wasn't planting a fall garden. I'm going to plant a small fall garden this year, and I got all my seeds from Hoss Tools
To go in that
to
green
go
stalk.
in the green stalk.
So
We
because our
love
ground's
both
not
these.
prepped and
Oh no, that's not even remotely close. But I do want to say this. We're in zone 8, okay? You guys in zone 8, and if you're higher, y'all need to be getting your seeds in your seed trays now, because it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks for them to come up, and you're going to want to start planting that fall garden in mid to late October.
so is this stuff that you have, does it need to be started in seed trays?
What I got could be started in seed trays, but I kind of went away from, because I'm not going to have any way to do anything in seed trays right
That's what
now.
I was thinking.
So I got a lot of stuff that I'm just going to direct seed into the green stalk.
Oh,
But I
okay.
had a lot of people asking, when do I need to start getting ready? Now's when you need to get ready for the fall garden. We're in Alabama, so if you're in zone 8, which you can look at a chart, Google it. They're easy to find, and I'll tell you what zone you're in, growing zone. And now is the time. If you're in zone 8 or higher, if you're in zone 9, you're zone 10, you guys need to be. But you got a shorter winter anyways. But y'all need to start getting ready for that fall garden. Kohlrabi was a big one last year that we planted. A lot of people didn't know anything about, and a lot of kohlrabi
I didn't know
stuff,
anything
yeah.
about it, but I sure enjoyed it.
But cooler weather crops, us people here in the South, we actually can grow, in my opinion, more cooler weather stuff than we can hot weather stuff. And I know that sounds crazy because we're so used to just thinking of gardening, thinking of hot weather.
You think that gardening
spring,
is
summer.
tomatoes, and
Yeah.
I think that's the bottom line. Is you think of garden as tomatoes and squash and you know
But
watermelons.
That's not the case, guys. We can grow so much. Just off the top of my head, you got kohlrabi, you got radishes, you got all your greens, collard greens, turnip greens, your lettuces, tatsoi, spinach, rutabagas. Gosh, the list goes on. Brussels sprouts, which we kind of have a tough time growing
Broccoli.
Brussels sprouts. Broccoli.
Our broccoli was awesome last year.
It was awesome. Carrots, onions, garlic, our elephant garlic's what we can grow here. This is the time to start getting ready to plant that stuff. So, you guys, I'll put a link down below to Hoss Tools, and I'll put a link down below for green stalk planters. If you use any of those links, we will get a small commission at no extra cost to you, and there's a promo code for each one. I think green stalk, you get some money off the green stalk planter. I think it's $10. And then Hoss Tools, you'll get a free pack of collard green seeds.
Collard greens.
Yes, we love collards.
We do.
So that will be down below if you guys want to check it out. But I wanted to go over what exactly we're going to plant this year in our green stalk planter. We're going to plant some radishes, and these are purple plum radishes right here. We got several types of lettuces. We got a butterhead lettuce. Oh, this is a new one. I have never grown these before, but I know people have and they love them. These watermelon radishes.
Watermelon
Yeah, they're
radish.
cool.
Are they like for salads or?
Salads or raw, however you want to do it.
You know, I don't have a tendency to, when we make a salad,
Yeah.
to put a radish in it from the grocery store or
Right.
whatever. But when I go to a restaurant and they serve a salad and it has a radish in
It's
it,
good, isn't it?
I always enjoy
It's
it.
so good.
So I don't know why that gets past me when we're, thinking about having salads and preparing for making a nice salad. Why don't we ever think grocery store radishes are not like growing your own, but
Right.
it's just something I don't think of.
I mean, look at these.
Show
This
it to
is
them.
golden radishes.
Those are pretty.
Aren't they pretty? Let's see here. I'm going carrots. This year, I'm going to try to grow carrots in like a tub just for an experiment because Marycarl loves carrots so much, and they did so great in the freeze dryer.
They did.
I
They
think
really
we may
did.
have used all our freeze dried
Yeah,
carrots.
y'all were asking for us to show you how we incorporated our freeze-dried food into our cooking. And honestly, we just hadn't had time to. It's kind of, when I use those carrots, it's kind of spur of the moment. I'll cook a roast in the crock pot because we go on about our day, and I put the crock pot on in the morning.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of my cooking, I would add a bag of those freeze-dried carrots because they didn't take long to cook.
Right.
And they reconstituted, and the flavor was awesome.
It was great. And you've been doing a lot of crock pot cooking because of, you can just put it on
yeah,
there.
because we're so busy, and I can put it on in the morning, and then when we get done doing what we're doing, then we have a nice meal at the end of the day. And I haven't read about how to add the freeze-dried food. I've just kind of used my own judgment.
Right.
And we've used the freeze-dried potatoes.
Yes.
However, we do still have some that we harvested that are doing well.
They're still doing well.
That are fresh in their original state.
Non-freeze-dried.
Non-freeze-dried. So I've tried to use those when I'm using an abundance of potatoes. But as for roasting things like that, I've added them at the end. And the liquid from whatever I'm cooking tends to go back into that vegetable, and it just takes the flavor back to where it was. It's awesome.
It has been awesome.
I'm so glad we've had them.
Yes. This was our favorite carrot last year. This was a new one from Hoss. It was called Envy. They were easy to grow.
Is that the one that had so much flavor?
Yes, they were extremely sweet. These things are the sweetest carrots I've ever had, and they got really big. So this was
the ones that you decided were your favorite.
Our favorites. Marycarl likes the colored ones, but she really loved these Envies.
Yeah, the colored ones are cool to look at, but however, the flavor was the best in those.
Yeah, the Envy was way better than the rest of them. I said a lot of lettuces. We got some romaine, which I've had good luck with. Starfighter. This was a good one we had good luck with here. And let's see here.
What are our collards that we use here?
We're doing, all right, Top Bunch is the ones that we did the last couple of years, which are awesome. They also have a new one called Flash Collards.
We've never done those.
Never done these. So we got both these we're going to plant in a green stalk planter. We got 2 different types of kale. Actually, 3 different types of kale. The one that I like and grow the best here in the ground was Red Russian. This stuff will grow in concrete. If you like kale, my best luck has been with this Red Russian. Now, that Lacinato, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. This is a very popular one. Matter of fact, Greg at Hoss loves this one. And we've grown it before. That one? We have, but I didn't have as good luck as I had with that Red Russian kale. That Red Russian kale, I would just throw out, and it would just, up. Especially my raised bed garden back in the day, that would just fill up raised bed gardens.
Okay, I remember it then.
And that stuff would just grow so
I don't know
easy.
the names of what you planted, but I know what I liked and what I didn't tend to care for. So
this is a new one, was Blue Ridge kale.
We've never grown it.
Never grown the Blue Ridge kale. I do have something new this year we're going to try, and that is spinach. I've tried to grow spinach in the past. I was unsuccessful with it, but I'm going to try it again this year.
If at first you don't succeed,
just keep going.
Try again.
Mm-hmm. Last year we had great luck with this mixed premium green. It has, it's just a ton of different. I don't know what it says.
So if you were going to grow like one variety of lettuce, this would be a good variety?
The mixed green is like several varieties mixed in this.
Hold it still.
And it's not focused. It's wanting to focus on
that's
your
okay.
face.
You were doing like this, and I know nobody could look at it when it's going like this.
But this was really, really good. This grows. This is super thick mass right here. You don't plant this in seed trays.
I remember exactly where that was.
This is a super thick mass.
We just went in there with some
scissors,
kitchen shears, and we grabbed the bottom of it and we cut a wad of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you love how I say we cut a wad of lettuce?
You do the spinach the same way, and there was one more. Oh, here it is. This is the other one we like so much. We've grown this 2 years in a row. You do it the same way. Grow a thick mass of it, and just come in and cut it, and it grows. Just keeps coming back.
This stuff's really good for you, too.
Tatsoi.
I had to read about it last year because I really had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And so upon reading, we found out how many vitamins it has in it and how good for you it is. And we tried to consume as much as this if we could through the growing season last year.
And what we liked about it is we ate it raw in salads. We cooked it like collard greens.
Right.
I mean, it
had a lot
really,
of flavor.
really
it was really good.
Tatsoi. And this may have been the easiest thing to grow.
So,
I mean, it just grew a thick mass. And when you grow it in a thick mass like that, it's super fast for one, and it just smothers out any weeds you have. And this tatsoi, I mean, I don't know how many times we cut this.
you know what I was just thinking? Okay, say you're an elder lady and you live alone and you don't have any help and you maybe even don't even have much of a backyard. You could get you a little plot of, say, maybe even 6 by 6.
Just a little raised bed garden. You could get, if you knew somebody, they could build you, because you could use 8-foot pieces of wood. You can cut one in half and make a 4 by 8 raised bed.
And then put you some good soil in it.
You could grow that mixed green
and have salads every day
and that tatsoi and just pour it in there and cut and come back every time you use it and have delicious greens and salad throughout the fall and winter season.
Well, I was just thinking how good it would make you feel to know that, hey, I can go out there and eat my salad that I grew. And it's just so self-fulfilling to know that you did that yourself. It's coming from your energy, your time, and you're able to reap the benefit. So, I was just thinking how much it would lift my spirits if I was in a position where I couldn't plant a big garden, but I had maybe even like a container.
Right.
Even a container you could
that tatsoi, that mixed green mix, you guys could plant that in a pot or
something big.
Even like one of those galvanized tubs from that you
buy. The tartar tub.
Yeah. Any of those. I mean, either one of those
Would it have to have drainage in it?
You would have to have drainage in it.
I hate to drill holes in it, but I bet they make some that are made for planters.
Right.
I don't know.
You could grow that in the full sun, on your back deck, anywhere. Just those two are extremely, extremely easy. And I know there's more out there. A lot of people, like I said, that red Russian kale.
That's just something we like, though, and it grew well for us.
That tatsoi and mixed green mix.
I wonder if that would grow most anywhere, or if it's specific to our zone.
It is. I don't know about that. I really don't. I just know our zone. I have a lot of people ask me that may be in Michigan or wherever.
What is their zone? You just have to Google it.
Can I grow that? I really don't know anything outside Zone 8.
And to be honest with you, we don't have time to go in and tell everybody what their zone is. But a quick Google search of probably your zip code could tell you what zone you are.
You can figure out what zone you're in. And once you figure out what zone you live in, then you can figure out what you can grow. And basically, the growing seasons are just longer and shorter for certain people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't grow it, but it just may be a different time that you put it in the ground and a different time you harvest it.
For the most part, that's correct. And if you get into bulbs like garlic and onions, that's a totally different animal because we can't really grow garlic well here. So we have to grow elephant garlic, which is a leek.
Yeah.
So, but for seeds, if I could just pick 2 or 3 things to grow, and that would be it. It would be that mixed green mix, that tatsoi, and you could even, radishes are extremely easy. Those 3 things almost anybody can grow. I mean, if you have I got a black thumb, I don't have a green thumb, you can grow tatsoi, you can grow that mixed green mix, and you could grow radishes. I'm telling you, they're super,
and a
super
container would work for you.
Yes.
As long as you've got drainage, go to one of your big box stores, even Tractor Supply. They have these big tubs, and if you don't mind drilling a few holes in the bottom of it, then you could plant it in a container, and you wouldn't have to deal with wood frame and putting something in the ground.
Or a green stalk planter.
Oh, a green stalk planter would be awesome. Yeah. So, you could just get that container and fill it up with your dirt and put you a few seeds in how many holes is it? 32?
What's that?
The holes in the green stalk planter. It depends on which one you get.
Yeah, it depends on which one you get. They're up there.
But
I'll say one was.
They'll deliver that thing to your door.
Yeah.
And anybody can do it. I could put it together. Marycarl could put it together.
Yeah,
all you do is set the layers on top of each other. That's it.
And it's self-watering. You water the top, and it just waters all
So
the
you're not
chambers,
watering
so-
each individual little thing. You water it from the top, and
Mm-hmm.
it's, efficiently waters the whole thing.
So that is what we're going to do this year in the fall garden, and I'll try to keep you guys updated on it. I will make a video about it once we get to that point, which will be coming soon. I guess I'll just put them around the camper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be able to water it from there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Just walk out the camper and
That's
get
right.
us some salad.
that's
Some
right.
collard greens.
I mean, we got to have something.
Yeah,
Can't go without growing anything.
that's right.
So we're gonna make it work,
We're going to make it work.
and y'all can too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, those
Aren't those
three
green
things are-
stalks around $100, something like that?
Something like that, yeah, depending on which one you get.
But it would
something like
last you for the rest of your life. It's
Yeah.
not like you're going to spend $100 over and over and over. You spend $100 and then you get finished with it, and you could plant you some flowers in it, or
Yeah, just-
whatever you wanted to do.
Mhm. Or when the summertime comes or spring comes, you can plant different items in it.
We
So
love it for herbs too. Herbs
That's
are awesome.
that's one of our favorite things, and that's why we got basil in it now. Yeah, we did 2 this year that were strictly herbs.
I
and
made,
the other 2 were flowers.
Some spaghetti sauce. I always make homemade spaghetti sauce, and I never make it the same way. I don't have a recipe. I just dump this, dump that, dump our, tomatoes we've canned over the years. And so the other day I had I'm trying to clean out my pantry. I'm trying to get rid of some things that have been in there for quite some time and are still in date. And so I found a can of Rotel. It was diced tomatoes with Rotel. And it was a can about this big, one of those big giant cans. Marycarl does not like tomatoes in a, I don't know how to describe
I was
it.
the same way as a kid, though.
She'll eat it pulverized, but she won't eat it in chunks.
Yeah.
And so this was diced tomatoes with Rotel, and I thought, I need to use that. So I got my blender out, and I poured that can of Rotel in that blender, and I pulverized it to where it was just mush and puree. And I had a bunch of other, sauces that we had jarred and such as that. So I put it all in the crock pot, went out back and got some basil out of our green stalk planter, added it to the crock pot that was simmering with all the sauce in it. Best tomato sauce I ever made. Best spaghetti sauce.
It had a kick to it.
It did, but it wasn't such a kick that you like that.
Yeah.
But it was enough to make the sauce what I would consider the best I've ever made.
It was crazy. You would not think that sounds good.
And
but
it was an accident. I did not.
Really, really did. And me and Marycarl like spicy things. So,
Yeah, you do. And I'm kind of, I can take some spice, but I'm very lenient on the amount that I can take. So I just love that Rotel added to it. I think I'll do that from now on.
It doesn't, I'm telling y'all, it doesn't sound like the best thing in the world, but it was delicious. It really was good.
I thought to myself, I need to use this, and I'm going to use it. So we've enjoyed 2 days of leftover spaghetti sauce, and I actually put some in a bag, excuse me, to freeze so we can have it on our new journey.
That's right. It was good. It really was good.
It's just a dump recipe. I just add what I have, and that was a new one. I won't be able to recreate it exactly because I don't know what I actually put in there, but it was just a lot of tomato sauce and some paste and some Rotel and some basil, and it turned out perfect. So
it was good.
just wanted to tell y'all my secret to my spaghetti sauce. So we do have, as always, a lot going on, and we have some questions that people have asked. And I thought that we would answer some of those.
Sure.
A sun is peeking
I see
through.
it. It's getting bright.
Okay. I'm just going to start at the top and guess what I have.
Got a pen?
I got a pen to mark them off. Okay, first question is, how do we like the pod? I just thought about those when you moved. Just wondering if you think they're useful or not.
It's hard to say right now. So far, it's okay. We got some boxes in it. I mean, the concept seems great. It's right here in the front door.
It has been very convenient for when we get a box ready to
Yeah.
walk out the door and put it in there. And what we've been doing is we've been putting a whole bunch of boxes that are labeled and ready to go in the foyer. And then when we get so many that we really can't walk anymore, then we all grab a box and we head to the pod and we push them in there. And so far, so good.
So far, so good. My plan is to get the boxes in and then get furniture in, and hoping the furniture kind of keeps everything in place and keeps the boxes from falling all over the place. And there's some eye hooks in there and that kind of thing too. So
Yeah.
I should be able to secure it all up, I'm guessing, because they're going to come in with this lift and pick this thing up, put it on the back of the truck, and drive it to the 40, and then take it off the lift and set it back down.
And my plan for things that I don't want to be broken will be to, after they take that pod over there, I'm going to load up the car and the truck with pictures and things that will get broken, and me physically put them in my vehicle so I know that they will be handled with care, and then put them in the pod over there that won't be moved again.
Right.
It won't be
That's
moved.
right, because we'll empty it out.
Yeah, so I hope to leave enough space in there to where we can store the rest of our breakables that I don't want them moving.
I got you.
Anything can happen when somebody else is in charge.
Well,
anything can happen when I'm doing it, but
a car could pull out in front of that truck and he slam on brakes.
At least I would be responsible for my important breakable stuff. Can you show what you're doing with the bolts that stick out of that floor of the coop? That might hurt if you step on that. And how are the chickens going to get in the coop?
We're going, first of all, the bolt should be fine. I mean,
the bolts, they don't stick up as far as they probably look like they do.
Yeah, and it'd be no different than the chicken walking around on bare ground, because there could be a rock. I mean, all those variables there. So the bolts are not going to hurt the chicken's feet. Once we get this thing level, and we bought some jacks to level it up, like
we bought some camper
jacks,
stabilizing jacks.
And so we'll get it level and get it stabilized. It's not as high off the ground as it appears now, because it's like this.
Yeah.
Once it gets level, it'll be somewhere around 3.5 foot off the ground. And then we'll build a ramp. And then we're going to put an automatic door like we got here. And so they'll be able to go in and out normally. And we've got ourselves some stairs, or some steps, that go on the back of it where
so
we can
go in and out.
So
I don't want to walk up and down a ramp.
Yeah, no ramp for us. So we got.
I mean,
some
a
steps.
ramp would be awesome.
Yeah.
But the ramp is going to be for a lightweight chicken, not a heavyweight cog lady.
I'll put little treads on it so the chickens can get in and out.
It won't be a problem.
Be an issue.
But those screws that are sticking up, Jason and I have been in and out of it a lot of times, and we've never had an issue with stumping our toe on it, so it just sticks up just a hair. It's not like probably as much as it looks.
Yeah, it's no big deal on the screws.
Have you seen the really neat cattle panel arches for growing grapevines and etc.? And they're saying that Sarah at Living Traditions put a few of them in her open chicken area. The idea was to provide some shade in there, but also to provide shelter in case of overhead predators. We have a lot of cattle panels.
We do have a lot of cattle panels, and
that's what we used to make our meat chicken coop out of.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think we've ever done anything. I mean, we've thought about it, but I've never done anything like that at all. I know Sarah at Living Traditions, so I may reach out to her, or I'll just go look for her videos and see how that's working for them.
What we did, I don't know how she did it, but we put T-posts in the ground. We put 2 T-posts. We put the panel up against it. We arched it up, and then once it got to the arch, we put 2 more T-posts in it. Made that arch stay there.
I think that would work.
I don't know how
this.
she did it, but we'll have to check that out. So thank y'all for the advice on providing. We've only done it, like we said, for shelter. It would be good for shade or aerial predator.
Sure.
However, our tractor, which I'm calling a tractor, the chicken tractor, the chicken coop, we will have that bottom open.
That bottom be open.
And we're leaving it open on purpose because if there is an aerial predator, they can all go up under there and hide and potentially seek shelter.
I think that I will probably either on that one or another one, I'm not sure, but we're going to have more than one of these type coops.
Yes.
Is build a lean-to or on and off of it too.
I think the permanent ones we'll do that with. That is what we plan to do, is to get a couple of more of those over there, and we do plan to take these off the axles that are in. Well, they're not there yet.
They're not there yet.
Hopefully soon, but we plan to put those flat on the ground instead of being with the wheels on them. A lot of people said, why don't you take the wheels off of them? Because we want our laying hens to be in a mobile position where we can move them around.
That's our plan.
For the future.
Yeah.
And, initially, we're going to put them in the fence so they can just roam that area. But in the future, we plan to move that tractor around and have a poultry netting around
Yeah.
it to where they can free range, and we can put them on new pasture pretty much,
Right.
Daily or whenever they need to go. What are we going to do with Scott and the turkeys?
They're going with us, and we've already bought Scott in the peacock pen, which is huge.
It is huge.
It's
We
a
haven't put it
big,
together
big
yet, and it's
pen.
going to be a big deal.
Yeah, putting that pen together is going to be an all-day thing. And we're going to do pretty much, I think the turkey's almost the same way. I mean,
Well, I was thinking with the turkeys, we could put them loose with the chickens, because the problem is the peacocks and the turkey don't
Right.
get along.
right.
So if we have that chicken tractor
Mm-hmm.
and we have it inside the fence, all the chickens and the turkeys get along. The peacocks will be in their enclosure. There won't be any drama going on.
Right.
That the turkeys can just free range and go up into the trailer where they'll sleep and roost at night. And I mean, we have the turkey enclosure here already that can be used if we see that poses a problem.
Right.
But I'm kind of thinking that we will be able to let the turkeys free range.
Probably so. We probably will.
We'll keep them locked up in the trailer for a little bit.
Yeah, so fixing to say they'll have to be locked up. Everybody be locked up for a few weeks before we let anybody out.
So they know where their home is and where they're to go back to.
Right.
Not that they can just go out in the road or whatever, but we will let them know where their home is, of course. And I'm hoping that that's going to work out.
Yeah, me too.
Scott's going to be in his enclosure before we free range him for as long as it takes.
Right.
And the new owners are so nice about, if we don't get everything moved in time as far as animals, it may be that we don't have Scott's enclosure put together by the time we go to move.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know. We've got to get things situated for the house. That's our first priority. It's just to get out of the house.
Right.
And she said that the animals could stay here as long as they need to. And of course, Scott free ranges. So when we get that coop built, we'll move him over there. May not be October 5th when he goes, but they said it's fine, and we'll get him there
We'll
eventually.
see. That's right.
Has our mom? We don't have the same mama. We're not related except for by marriage.
That's right.
And
that's your mom that lives
that's my
here.
mom. Has my mom's tiny house arrived? I did not want to come and do this podcast this morning until I talked to the guys that are delivering the tiny house.
Yep.
And I did. Huh?
And the tiny house is close to the 40.
It's 12
Yeah,
miles.
it's 12 miles.
So before I came up here to do this podcast, I was on the phone with them, and we were shooting for today to have it moved.
Mm-hmm.
It's too wet.
It's too wet because
It's been
of
a lot
Ida.
of rain.
Mhm.
It's too wet. So we're shooting for this week to have it moved. Jason and I both went over one day this week, and we removed all of the plumbing, supply lines that supply the water, drains that drain the poo-poo and the pee-pee and the water out. We cut all those off. They disconnected the power from the power company this week, so we do need to go over and cut that power out.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
No.
Won't take long. But we're shooting for this week to have it moved.
This week to have it moved to the 40.
To the 40. So y'all stay tuned. It's not there yet, or we would have updated.
And and here's the thing. Once we get it there, then I got to plumb it back up and get the drains put in and get the power reinstalled.
Well, we've got power there, but there's no panel box.
Yeah.
That on the outside.
Right.
And during my thinking during the night, I was thinking we'll just put us a 4x4 post, kind of like what they have over there where the tiny house is located now,
right.
and put that
Okay.
box
Yeah.
there and do it kind of the same way.
I got you.
Same way it is at an RV park or whatever.
Right.
And goodness, it's a lot to be done, but we'll get it.
We'll get it.
We'll get it. So the tiny house, that's going to be a cool deal.
It is going to be
I'm
a cool
excited.
deal, and I'm thinking about something I never done before. There's one thing that I tell you all the time that I don't like doing.
Plumbing.
I just don't like plumbing because it just
Yeah, but
always
this
seems
is
like
not-
I'm just saying I've never dealt with PEX before,
Oh.
and I'm going to use PEX to get the plumbing rerouted in this thing underneath it.
Yeah, this is not supplying sinks, and
That's already done.
that's already done.
Yeah.
So you don't. That's the part that you really hate, right?
That's the part I don't like. That if it's open, that kind of stuff I can do, but when it's the little detailed stuff,
Yeah.
that I really don't like doing at all.
Well, if we get in a bind, we'll just
Yeah.
get our buddy Mike to come over and
Yes.
help us out.
That's
But I think it's going to be fairly simple, and you thought it would be too.
Yeah, I did.
How did we meet? We addressed this in a podcast.
We do. Write it down. There's a link. We'll put the link to the podcast about how me and you met and our whole backstory there.
Yeah, we won't go into all that because if you're interested, then you can watch that podcast. But it's a pretty cool story. Are you going to have Cog Hill painted at the top of the barn like Green Acres?
That's funny. That was super popular. What I think about when I think of painted barn roofs is Sea Rock City. That was down here in the South, especially near that Tennessee line. For some reason, I don't know if that was some kind of campaign or what, but that was extremely popular here, was for people to paint on their barns Sea Rock City. I know I'm not the only one that's seen that before, because that was so, it just seems like when I was a kid too, that seemed I saw that a lot. But painting barn roofs with some type of message or whatever was fairly common at one time.
You know what I'm thinking?
What's that?
That once we get settled in and we have absolutely nothing to do, that we will get on the top of the mobile chicken coop and paint Cog Hill Farm.
We could do that.
Of it.
We could do that.
I think that would be cool.
That would be cool.
That's when we have nothing to do and we're just sitting around twiddling our thumbs. Is that day going to happen?
Probably not, but
yeah. What about snakes coming up through the grates in that
it's
chicken
possible.
trailer?
I mean,
no, it's not. There's no way a snake could get that tiny. It would have to be a little.
You know good as well as I do.
I know they can squeeze through a little tiny.
Our first chicken coop we built out of hardware cloth, which was this big, and we got 2 big chicken snakes in there. How they got in there, I don't know, but
they went under. They went under the dirt.
They didn't dig no hole on that dirt. They found a crevice somewhere where they could fit. Is our chicken coop going to be snake proof? Absolutely not.
Absolutely. Our chicken coop is going to be snake proof.
It will not be snake proof. I promise. It's it's one of those things where you think that it's mice proof or rat proof or snake proof. Trust me, it's never. Unless it's solid concrete. We don't know what the snake pressure is over there. We don't, because we haven't lived there.
Yeah.
We have had chicken snakes here, so I mean, it's possible. But as for them squeezing through the little crevices in that grate, no, they wouldn't fit.
That was my point.
Yeah, they wouldn't fit through there.
They wouldn't fit through the. Then that's their question: is how about snakes coming up through the grates? They won't fit.
They won't fit through that grate, no. But they
As
could
for
get
a
in the
snake
chicken.
getting in there, yes, it's possible, but they're not going to come through the grate.
No.
Where does the name 40 come from?
The 40 comes from because it's 40 acres.
It's 40 acres. It's a 40-acre farm.
Yeah. I don't know how in the world it came about us. Just like me calling you Mrs. Cog Hill. It's just something that just
It just happened.
evolved.
It was just an accident. It's not like we all put our heads together and say, hey, we'll call this the 40. It just happened.
Yeah.
And we refer to it as slang, I guess.
Yeah, it's 40. I keep telling Brooke or Mrs. Cog Hill, that I'm going to make a T-shirt that's a 40-ounce beer can and it says Cog Hill 40. That's what I think.
And every time he says it, I just roll my eyes because I think to myself, who wants to wear a beer can shirt that says 40 on it?
My buddy Chad at Adler Farm, he thinks that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I told him that it was just a joke, but...
Since Bear's getting older, do you believe more guard dog or puppies are needed?
Eventually, yeah, we probably will get at least one more.
Well, excuse me, that's not something that's on our list right now because training a puppy while we're trying to move would not be a good thing. But I do think that, all good things come to an end, right?
Right.
And yes, Bear's been a good dog, but he is getting old and he's not able to help Foxy as much as he once was. I don't think we'll go back with a Great Pyrenees.
No, we'll probably lean more towards an Anatolian Shepherd.
Yeah, we've got some friends here locally that have a male and female Anatolian, and they're both full-blooded. They're not ready to breed yet.
Right.
They're not of age, but we have talked to them in the past and told them that we may be interested in a puppy, and that would be on down the road.
Right.
But and the reason we're not potentially going to go back with the Pyrenees is for one thing, their hair gets matted and caught on things.
And it's just so warm here. Yeah, it does get matted, caught on things. And I know that's part of their protection, but if they didn't have to deal with the heat and deal with that too here, so just
we feel like a short-haired dog would be a better solution.
Yeah, better equipped for living here versus
for living here. And
Great Pyrenees.
We've had 3 Great Pyrenees,
Yeah.
and all 3 of them have had a lot of hair. Foxy has the least amount of hair, and she's supposedly a Pyrenees Anatolian mix.
I don't think she's 100% Pyrenees Anatolian mix, but she does a great job.
Now, her sister, Weenie, over at Simply Making It, who makes the soaps and things.
Where we got Fifi and Capri from.
Yes, where we got our goats, Fifi and Capri from. They have Foxy's sister, Weenie, and Weenie's hair is a lot shorter than Foxy.
A lot shorter than Foxy's.
But they picked Weenie before we picked Foxy.
Right.
And when we found out about it, we did pick Foxy because she had shorter hair than the rest of the puppies. However, her hair is probably twice as long as Weenie's.
Yeah.
Weenie looks more like a lab.
Yeah, she does.
And she does a good job. She just eats eggs.
Weenie.
Foxy likes eggs too.
Foxy likes eggs too.
She doesn't have access to the nesting boxes, or else she'd probably like them a lot more.
Probably would like them a lot more.
She'd probably like them as much as Weenie does. But if Foxy finds an egg on the ground where one of these crazy ducks have just randomly laid it, we'll see Foxy walking down the road like this.
Yeah.
With an egg in her mouth because she's so proud of it. What's your last name? I always thought it was Cog.
Smith.
Smith.
Smith is our last name.
Smith. Smith is our last name. We're not brothers and sisters.
No. You know, we are from the South, but I mean, come on.
we were talking about our mama.
That's right.
Moving our mama's house. My mama.
Oh, me.
My maiden name was Snyder. Snider.
Not a Y.
Not a Y.
Yeah.
Snyder. So now I'm Snyder-Smith.
Smith.
What's the status of the pond?
Just put on hold for the moment until we get stuff built, and then we're going to reevaluate the situation.
Our house is being built with a porch on the side of it in anticipation of overviewing a pond that's not there yet.
It's not there yet. Even the guys doing the work now, you know,
they think it's a great idea.
They think it's a great idea too.
And if Ross is not available to build the pond like we anticipate, Ross is Piper's dad, who's very busy. He has told us that in the future he would be glad to build the pond if he has free time or when he has free time. The site guys are our second option.
Yep.
They are very knowledgeable. They know what they're doing. They're local to the area. And we have been talking to them about the pond.
Yes.
And they think it's a great idea and have offered lots of things for us to consider. So, I mean, if Ross can't do it, we may get these site guys to
I agree.
To build it. But
or get a surprise.
Yeah, get a surprise. Our goal is to have a pond.
Yeah, our goal is to have a pond.
And I do want to talk to the Department of Soil and Conservation.
That too. Because
there are some grants out there that will help you with building a pond if it's for livestock.
Yep.
If it's for water conservation, which we've got a lot of ducks and geese, and we plan to have some cattle in the future.
Right.
Cattle. I shouldn't say plural. I mean, it will be more than one, but not like a whole herd.
Yeah.
That could help with their water.
Right.
And so there may be a grant. And even the site guys told us to go check with them.
Check with them.
So that's on my list of things to do, is to go up there and talk to them. I've called them several times, left messages, no return calls. So there's no way to know unless you talk to somebody in person.
We could even use it to pump water to the flower farm and all that. So all that would fall in line with the grant.
Yeah, it would definitely be water conservation because we would be able to conserve a lot
of
water.
We
did that. But like I was saying, I made a few phone calls with no phone call back. But I've found these days, unless you go yourself and talk to somebody in person, you're probably not going to get an answer.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Have y'all found an RV for your mom? No, we're not looking anymore.
Yep. She got the tiny house.
We bought the tiny house. We just are in the process of having it moved.
Correct.
So no RV for mom, just a tiny house. Is the owl still in the barn?
Haven't seen the owl lately.
You know why? We moved all that junk out. All that junk that the previous owner had in there was
I didn't think about that.
inhibiting rats and inhibiting nesting possibilities for rats. Well, guess why that owl was in there? He was eating those rats
Eating
and
those
mice.
rats and mice, and the barn's completely empty.
So we got all that junk out, and all the rats and mice went with it, and so the owl had no food. So guess what? The owl moved on.
I haven't seen it.
I look every time I go
Yeah.
in there. I shine a flashlight, and it's really hard to see.
It is really hard to see, and
We act like we've had a DNA test on it and know the gender of the thing, because I refer to it as a she too, and I don't know why.
I don't know why either, but
She's not there.
She's not there, or she was very, very
Well
hidden and very quiet.
Well,
So-
she was very quiet. There were so many hilarious comments. Y'all think that owl's real, don't you?
So many people that
They
thought
thought
it
that it was fake.
Yeah.
They thought that owl was like a statue or something
Yeah.
sitting up there, and I got tickled reading all of it because the owl was real.
She
the
was
owl
real.
would move her head
and
like
fly.
this.
She would
And
fly from corner.
and we saw her fly.
Matter of fact, we had one video of her flying when we
Yeah.
first went there because it kind of scared us. So
And those-
she's real.
Those people thought that y'all think that owl's real, and she's just a statue sitting in there. And I would laugh. I would think to
man.
myself, "Yep, that owl's real.
That
all right,
owl's
I can promise
completely
you."
real because Marycarl educated us on the owl. When she flew, you couldn't hear it. And Marycarl went on to explain the way their feathers and feather wing bones or something that
Did she do that in the video?
I don't think so. I think we're recording at that time.
Okay, I was gonna say.
But she may have. I don't know.
Well,
That
you
video was
won't
a while
need
back.
to find the link to that
No,
because
I
you'll
would
be going
it'll take me
for
forever.
3 hours.
But the owls are super silent when they fly, so they can sneak up on their prey.
Well, she flew across that barn while we were standing there.
Yeah.
When we first went in there, and it was absolutely silent.
Absolutely silent.
You couldn't hear it.
You know, sometimes when you hear bird flies, you can hear the wind breaking. You know that.
You couldn't hear that at all.
Nothing.
Now, she wasn't very big. She was very tiny, but still, she was silent.
Yep.
A silent hunter.
Yes.
She ate well, too.
She was eating well.
Are we still going to have access to the Cog Hill Cemetery for your ancestors?
That would be yes. That is not. That will still stay in our family. Just put it that way.
The access to the cemetery before we built this house was up the opposite end of our property, and there was an old road there that was used because this was not here. We built this road, so that old access is still there.
Yep.
And people that were buried there, that had family there, whatever, that, I mean, they're all related to Jason, but nobody's living any longer, that used to access the cemetery. That's the way they came in, and that still exists, and it will continue to exist.
That's correct.
So, no, we won't need to come into this property to access it.
Right.
But it remains in the family. It was surveyed off
Yes.
when the property was put into our name.
Right.
And it's still going to be a family cemetery. I say no question is a stupid question. And I continue to abide by that. Do we feed our outside cats any cat food, or do they live off what they kill? Now, some of y'all might think that that's a crazy question, but it's not.
Yeah.
There are cats, I'm sure, that do live off what they kill. Ours do not. They are barn cats, but they are not true barn cats.
Yeah, they're barn cats.
They're
and
very
they're fed in the
social.
barn.
I think of a barn cat as kind of being more of a feral cat, not having much human activity.
I guess so.
That may just be my definition, but our cats, they meow. Well, Tucker does. Meows very loudly when her bowl gets low. It never gets empty because we keep it filled up. But when it gets low, she's going to let you know.
She will let you know. Trust me.
Now, Pink, she doesn't meow. She opens her mouth, and you know what she's trying to tell you. But, they eat cat food. As a matter of fact, that container we keep that cat food in is getting kind of low. So I told Marycarl, I said, remind me that we need to pick up some cat food on our next shopping trip. They eat well, and they don't want that bowl to get low.
No.
If it gets down to about like that, meow,
No, we want you to top it off with some fresh cat food because we don't like that old cat food.
And I'm like, you spoiled cats.
Spoiled.
Spoiled want fresh cat food.
Yeah.
It gets down low, won't eat it. Gotta have fresh on
Gotta
top
have
of
fresh food.
it. So
And they like the dry. You try can, and they don't really care for the can.
no, they don't really care for the can. They eat the dry, crunchy cat food, and
Which is better for their teeth, anyways.
it is. So I don't know if our cats have ever killed anything.
I'm sure they have, because we don't have any mice or rats anymore.
No, we don't. But I've never seen them like bring one back to the barn and be proud of it. Like Mama's
No.
cats will kill a chipmunk or something and bring it to her door, and they're so proud of it. And
I've never. I don't.
so our cats have never brought us anything to be
No.
proud of.
But there's no mats. There's no rats or mice
Or mats.
or mats.
So that brings me to the end of our questions.
Oh, is it?
That's it.
No
That's all
more?
I got.
Okay, more.
No, but we're at just about the right time.
Oh, we are just about at the right time.
But I did want to say something funny while
What's
I was
that?
thinking about it. I told you the other day that I wanted to share this with people because I thought they'd get a laugh out of it. And one of the questions, I don't know why I didn't print it on here because I thought I did and I was going to talk about it then, was how are we going to move Peaches?
How are we gonna move Peaches?
Pigs squeal, and they squeal at the slightest disruption. They are drama queens.
Yeah.
If you try to do something that they don't exactly approve, and I'm not going to squeal because you know what'll
No, yeah.
happen, but they just are overreactive.
It's their defense mechanism. But if you do pick up if you pick up a pig,
You're going to hear that
small,
squeal.
large, whatever, unless it's if it's a newborn for the most part.
Oh, they
but,
squeal too.
But if you pick up a pig, it's going to squeal, and you think it is
You need earplugs.
the end of the world that
You're killing them.
oh my gosh. But that is their defense mechanism. So
That leads me to my funny part that I told you the other day I thought people would laugh at. A couple of years ago, Peaches is our Vietnamese potbelly pig. She had some health problems and she could not go to the bathroom. She had a bowel impaction.
Yep. But at the
And-
time, we didn't know what was wrong.
No,
with
we
her.
didn't know what was
Yeah.
wrong with her. We just knew she was sick. And so
We
we-
took her to Auburn.
we had to load Peaches up.
Yeah.
And we had to load her up in the truck.
We had a king cab or crew cab truck, so she went in. We lifted the seat up, and she went in the back seat area.
She went in the back seat. And so y'all could have heard it from Auburn, from Valley Grande, Alabama. Her squealing, even though she was sick, she
Yeah.
still had that defense of squealing.
Yes.
And so we took Peaches to Auburn University, which is a good 2-hour drive from here, to be treated because
they're one of the premier vet
yes,
schools in the country.
and no veterinarian around here could treat pig.
Especially
not
like
like that.
yeah,
I
so
mean, not when there's a mystery going on and you
it's a
don't.
pet pig.
And how in the
Yeah.
world would you X-ray
Right.
Peaches? And they didn't have the ability to do that. So, long story short, we loaded Peaches up and we took her to Auburn. And Peaches was diagnosed with the bowel impaction. She stayed there 2 weeks.
Stay there a little while.
She stayed there a little while until her
'Cause it
bowel.
took them a minute to figure out what was wrong with her. They did X-ray and they saw a mass, and they thought it may have been cancer. And
Yes, and they thought that for a minute there, they thought the mass may have been causing her problems.
Mm-hmm.
But then upon further research and some collaboration with some other vets
Mm-hmm.
at the university, they found out that they didn't think the mass was causing her problem. They thought that it was just simply a bowel impaction.
Correct.
At the time, we were getting old produce from a local grocery store. And
Mm-hmm.
so Peaches was getting a variety of fruit and vegetables, plus her potbelly pig feed,
Right.
which she gets on a daily basis. So it wasn't that she was overeating. It was that she was getting a large variety of foods in her diet. And so she developed a bowel impaction.
Which they told us was fairly common.
Fairly common. And they thought that eliminating some of that produce from her diet and then adding mineral oil to her food and soaking her food.
And watering her food down.
Watering her food
Yep.
down, and a children's gummy vitamin
Correct.
every day would help to get her on a more regular schedule. So we did that. We eliminated the produce. None of our animals get the old produce from the grocery store anymore. Not because of what happened to Peaches, because they've had a new produce manager and we just don't get that anymore. But so Peaches got back on a regular schedule while she was at Auburn, and they let her go home after several normal bowel movements. So on the way there, the ride was pleasant. I took her by myself. Jason was at work. Marycarl was at school during this time. And she sat. She made no noise. She had no bowel movement. She was just such a good girl, and I was so pleased with our trip. And we got her there, got her unloaded. She squealed like a pig again when we unloaded her. She's all well, and she's ready to come home. And boy, those squeals were louder when they loaded her up than they were when you and I
Right.
loaded her. So Marycarl goes with me to go pick her up, and that trip home was not very pleasant.
Why wasn't it very pleasant?
Be glad that you were working.
Yeah, I know it.
So Peaches is back working. Her bowels are working.
Yes.
And she's back to a normal pig, and she can't sit still in that back seat. She's got to move around, and she's got to have bowel movement. And she has a bowel movement, and it's so stinking strong of foul odor that Marycarl and I roll the windows down and just about hang our heads out the window. And it was cold. It was cold weather.
It was cold.
But we didn't care how cold it was. We had the heater going wide open, and we had the windows all down, and Marycarl's over like gagging. So we see a rest area, and we stop, and we get all these paper towels, and we get all that feces out. Well, I bet the people at rest stop thought, what in the world are they throwing in the garbage? So we get the truck cleaned out. We had these WeatherTech floor mats, so no poop went in the carpet. It was just simply on these floor mats. And we get going down the road again, and we have the windows up, and all of a sudden here it starts stinking again. And Marycarl's like, Mama, I can't do this. I cannot ride home with this stinking pig. And we all love Peaches. She's our pet, but she stinks, and she starts pooping again. And here it comes. And I'm talking about, this time we didn't see a rest stop. Well, here goes the windows. They roll down again. And we're got the heat wide open. And we stop again. And we dispose of the feces. And y'all, I bet this happened 5 or 6 times on the way home. I'm sure she was nervous because she was in the back seat of the truck.
Well, plus they've been pumping her so
Well, they
much
had
of
been-
laxatives.
They had gave her so much stuff to make her bowels start moving again. And lo and behold, they were moving. They were moving.
What was funny to me was Marycarl was sending me text. It was like a play-by-play, and it was like, her holding her nose and the windows down, and y'all getting it was
As soon as we would stop to dispose of the feces and get back on the road again, she would poop again. And y'all, I just had in my mind it was going to be a pleasant trip because the one down there, I don't know, it just never occurred to me that she was going to be having bowel movements all the way from Auburn to Selma, which was a 2-hour drive.
Yes.
It was a trip to remember. I'm talking about a trip, TRIP, to remember.
Oh, Peaches.
Oh, Peaches.
She was getting you back
Well,
for loading her up in that truck.
she was, but I made her well again, and she should have been thanking me, and instead she was torturing us.
That's right.
It was a trip to remember.
Well, we don't have a king cab truck. Does that mean she got right up front now?
If you want her to, you're going to drive her.
There has been questions about how we're going to get Peaches over there. We have a horse trailer.
We do have a horse trailer.
That'll be easy for her to step up in.
It will, and she won't stink
That's
it up.
right.
Well, she can stink it up all she wants to because nobody's going to be riding
Right.
back there with her to hold their nose. Or
Right.
there might be some other farm animals, but they won't tell her how bad she stinks. And she's a diva.
They dare tell her because she is the farm boss.
She is the farm boss, and she's a diva. And to think that she's stinking up the truck, she was
Right.
probably humiliated, if the truth be known, that she was putting out that foul odor.
I'm sure she thinks it smells like roses.
I'm sure she does too, but Marycarl and I did not think it smelled like roses.
Y'all didn't?
No, and I think I know I checked Marycarl out of school early that day because I had no way to get her from school. You were working.
Right.
And so I had to check her out from school early. And I know Marycarl was thinking, I'd have rather been at school.
She probably would have.
I would have rather been at school.
Yeah, me too.
We should have made you go get her, and all would have been well. Jason doesn't do well with odors.
Yeah, I struggle with odors.
And I hate this virus ever came around, but had the virus been around back then, we would have had a mask on hand.
That's true.
And we could have wore a mask.
Yep.
But we didn't have any mask, so we just rolled the windows down and turned the heat up all the way and dealt with it.
The horse trailer is how we'll move most of the animals for the most part. Yeah, we'll get
our horse trailer is seen its better day, but it's gonna make this move, and
that's right. It's not a new horse trailer.
We might end up having to retire that horse trailer. It's in such bad shape, but we're gonna make it through this move first, and then we'll decide how we're gonna.
Nugget will be the interesting one moving.
Yeah, he will.
I don't know how he's gonna react to the horse trailer, but
he'll go up in there. That won't be a problem. Yeah. It's just a matter of.
But he can't hurt himself in there.
No, he can't hurt himself. So he'll be okay. Yep. And it's gonna be a trip to remember.
Maybe you can ride back there with
Hush.
Nugget.
That concludes this episode of the Cogcast podcast.
Y'all be good.